Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. So we're going to start with an article here. We have a lot of XRP news, and it's titled Japan's Financial Giant SBI renews its system for Ripple International remittance using on-demand liquidity. This is on thecryptobasic.com. So let's just scroll down here and read this little tidbit here. Every day, we're reading about big money coming into XRP. Don't let anybody tell you different. All those fudders out there, okay? How many days in a row is this? Maybe 4 days in a row, something like that? It's been multiples of weeks. We continue to read about big money coming into XRP, Algorand, Hedera, etc. Factual information, right? So let's read this little tidbit here. SBI Holdings, Japan's financial services company, announced that it renewed its XRP international remittance service using on-demand liquidity. According to a press release today, SBI's XRP international remittance service system using ODL, on-demand liquidity, has been renewed to a multi-tenant system that can connect with multiple remittance companies and crypto exchanges. Look at the web coming together. Look at the system coming all together, all of them congealing together. I'm going to jump ahead of, I'm getting ahead of myself. I probably should have saved this article. Do I have this article up here? There's a tweet actually. I'm jumping ahead, my apologies. But there was a tweet here I wanted to cover about Quant having this gateway to Hyperledger or merge with Hyperledger. But the bottom line is, you have Quant working with IBM, right? Stellar works with IBM. Hedera works with IBM. Quant has Overledger for XRP. Do you see the system coming together? It's all one system going by different names. That money is going to flow through everything. The bank coins are all operating as one. We sort of already knew that. We were saying that for a long time, but now we're starting to see confirmation of it. All their CEOs rub shoulders. Sorry about that. I smacked the microphone. My apologies. All the CEOs rub shoulders with each other. CEOs from Algorand. And by the way, Algorand Foundation and Algorand, they're sort of separate. One's a nonprofit, one's the for-profit, okay? All right, so, and Steve Kokinkos stepping away. Steve Kokinkos is still going to operate as an advisor to Algorand. But Mr. Kokinkos has other things that he wants to do at this particular time in his career and life. They're going to bring some more people in. We have an interim CEO and such like that for Algorand. At Algorand Foundation, Stacey Wharton is still running everything and doing a great job. So just keep that in mind. Just like you have Hedera, then you have the HBAR Foundation. You have Interstellar. Then you have the Stellar Foundation. You always have these two facets, all right? So just keep that in mind. But you see all of this big money. You see the system coming together. The new financial system is showing you that it is all one going by different names. So you don't have to think in this way, this is what I want to get to, that, well, what XRP versus XLM and HBAR versus Algorand. I see these videos and articles. And in my humble opinion, that's nonsense. They don't step on each other's toes. In fact, they complement each other. And there is more than enough value. I'm going to try to stop saying money. There's more than enough value to go around. And I say that because of the tokenization of everything. There will be quadrillions flowing through DLT, distributed ledger technology. Quadrillions, unequivocally. Now, let's go back here to this article. Let's read just a little bit here. It says, according to a press release today, SBI's XRP international remittance service system using ODL has been, okay, so we read that part already, my apologies. Quote, here's a quote. The XRP international remittance service system using on-demand liquidity provided by Ripple has been renewed. We are pleased to inform you that we have made support for all of these as a multi-tenant system that can connect with multiple businesses. Also, I'm going to slide in there. Keep in mind when the head of SBI Africa was saying that that individual believed most of the banks in Japan would use XRP. Now, there's no guarantees. Of course, that person can't just snap their fingers and make it happen. But that tells me that maybe this information was coming from something behind the scenes, or else why would that be said? You can't say that without something to base it on. There is a lot that we can speculate on. We don't know outright, but from what we glean with 400 to 500 large financial institutions, and most of them coming out and praising XRP, praising Ripple on demand liquidity, I believe that that joy is shared by a bevy of institutions that will also step in when the time is right. Whether that be regulatory clarity or when Ripple chooses to, how Brad Garlinghouse says, flip the switch, whatever it's going to be, a wave of money will flood in. There will be a lot of regret on the part of people who scoffed at and made fun of XRP, who did not do the research on Algorand, XRP, Hedera, XLM, these things. I am well diversified, so no matter which one goes off, I win. And I don't play with the bank coins. I want to make that clear again. I haven't sold a single bank coin, and I'm not going to. That's just my way. I'm not telling you to do that. That's just my way. Because I'm here to the end. That's it. I'm hunting the white whale. I'm not here for that little retail money. If I want retail money, I can easily do quick money plays like everybody else. You know, you have the regular crypto. Some of them have very good volatility. That is not what I'm doing with the bank coins. Once in a lifetime opportunity, these things. My humble opinion, not financial advice. Let's continue on here, right? We have another article. This one is on Finbold. And it is titled, SEC official expects greater regulatory clarity from Washington. So now the SEC is looking towards Washington to issue regulatory clarity when Congress was looking at the SEC about a week or two ago. Remember we covered that article? Congress was hoping SEC was going to enact regulatory clarity. They're kicking the ball back and forth, just stalling for time. Meanwhile, the SEC is taking everybody to court and collecting big money. There's something wrong there. Either these individuals are completely ignorant and all of this is inadvertent, or it's a plan, right? It's a plan. It's one of two that I can think of. Maybe someone else can think of more possibilities. But let's read this little tidbit here to get clarification. Hester M. Pierce, a commissioner at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, believes that the recent events in the cryptocurrency market will motivate regulators in the U.S. to dedicate more energy to creating more certainty regarding regulation. I don't understand that. Last year in the bull market, there were more people getting scammed than ever before, much more than now. I mean, maybe you're saying that it's more impactful that, you know, large companies went under and, you know, went bankrupt and all of that. I suppose that's debatable, but isn't the SEC supposed to represent people in the first place, protect them in the first place? If they didn't do it last year when people were getting harmed by scam coins and rug pulls, then why would this year be any more significant? Now, also, I want to pair with that the fact that they've been dragging out this Ripple case. If you lost the case and you know, and you don't have any evidence that XRP is a security, why not give that up and move on to doing your job, which is protecting the people? Instead, they have been dragging it out, filing for delays and redaction after redaction and motion after motion, dragging things out. And I'm no lawyer. I would never want to be a lawyer. But we can all see they've been dragging things out and stalling for time, and they're not protecting anyone. So once again, I say to Washington, if they didn't do it then, and they haven't done it the majority of this year, why would they do it now? You are not making a whole lot of sense, and you're shirking responsibility on your part. You are showing laziness on your part. You are being harmful to the people that elected you. You are directly by not taking any action. So you might want to start doing that. I would hope so. And I hope the people hold everyone accountable who has not acted in their best interest. And yet the people put you in that office. You are supposed to serve the public. You are a public servant. Yet you are thriving while the people suffer. Isn't that always the way that it is? But that is also why the people need to take some action. They can't just sit back. They have you distracted with everything. They distract the people and make them fight each other over these little issues. Meanwhile, the people of the world, the citizens and denizens of the nations are getting crushed. They make you fight each other so you're distracted. They distract you with sports events and this movie. Look at this movie here. Look at this issue over here. They distract the mind. Meanwhile, they are crushing you so that if you ever do decide to rise up, you're already too weak to do anything. You're already too divided to do anything. This is how they do. So even if they're lackadaisical, the people in power, the people in Washington, Congress, Senate, around the world, whoever these individuals are, even if they are lackadaisical, even if they don't do their jobs, because the people have been distracted and they have been divided and they have been crushed thoroughly, even when they're ready to act. The hope is that they're too weak to be effective anyway. And I think we've seen that quite a few times. But I hope the people hold these individuals accountable. It's never too late to fight back. It's never too late to make these people do their jobs. It's never too late to take back your power. You should have power over your own life. You know, if you're acting you're not harming anyone, you're acting in goodness, you should be able to have power in your own life and be able to succeed by the sweat of your own brow. You can go as high as you want and be as great as you want by the sweat of your own brow and not have all of these hindrances, not just societal hindrances, but hindrances from your own governmental entities. They have all been doing it. It's not just the SEC. They have all been hindering your growth. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, you should be able to become a billionaire. If you have what it takes, you have a new invention, or you have some type of innovation, or you just have enough fire in your belly to work hard, you should be able to do that. If you're from the bottom and you're trying to be a millionaire, you should be able to do that. But there's so many hindrances. They're throwing boulders in the people's paths. And the worst of all is they're doing it to the youth. That's where the boulders begin. That's why these people need to be held accountable and forced to do their job. They're taking your money. They should be doing their job. This is my humble opinion. Let's get off that article. You know, I don't even like to read things like that, but it's necessary. We have to have that information so we can remain abreast and privy of the situation. So now we know that Washington is kicking the ball back to the SEC. And the SEC has done nothing. So that is not helpful whatsoever, but it's to be expected. So now we have an article here. It's from cryptodaily.co.uk, and it goes as such. Senator Toomey roasts SEC's Gensler over failure to give clarity to crypto companies. Let me pause right there. I want to jump back to what I was saying before. Because of these people being so lackadaisical, lazy, right? And they have held so many people back. Do you know how many people would have been doing very well, no matter what, if the governments had actually enacted crypto regulations and all that money that's on the side would have flooded into crypto? So many people would have had hundreds of thousands of dollars to use in this harsh time, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to use. And don't get me wrong, some people are doing well. Many more would have been doing well. It was the regulators, the governmental entities, the companies that stood in the way of the people. That's why I'm saying what I said before. Or that's why I said what I said before. Okay, so Senator, whoever this individual is, Senator Toomey roasts SEC's Gensler over failure to give clarity to crypto companies. I don't know who this individual is, but let's read what they're saying. If it comes to the SEC, I have to hear what people are saying to see what's going on. Maybe they can get some motion going. It says, Senator Pat Toomey wrote a letter to SEC Chairman Gary Gensler earlier this week in which he blamed him for his lack of regulatory clarity towards crypto companies. It's true. He is to blame. He's in charge, which resulted in billions of losses for American consumers. Senator Toomey is a crypto-friendly legislator, okay, and he has made it his business to try and obtain fair treatment for crypto companies. That's very good. Who he believes are suffering due to a sluggish enforcement pace. Wait a minute. All right, I'm just gonna continue on. Just the way that was worded, a sluggish enforcement pace. Well, I would have worded that differently, but let's keep going. Which is harming investors and stunting innovation. The senator opened his letter with the with the following damning indictment of Gensler and the SEC. Quote, I write to express my concern about the Securities and Exchange Commission's uncompromising refusal to give regulatory clarity, which, let me pause there. There's another reason why it doesn't, I don't understand what the other politician was saying in the prior article that we just read. How can you expect the SEC to do something it hasn't done thus far? And there has been nobody that has obviously been able to apply any pressure to them to force them to do the job. So how can you expect different? If you do, if you do the same thing over and over, expect the same result. You would have to do something different in order to achieve a different result. Let's continue on here. It says, instead, the SEC has pursued a capricious and ineffective approach to consumer protection known as regulation by enforcement that is chilling financial innovation and contributing. Let me pause there. It's destroying the United States' chance of being a power in the future. Let's call it what it is. It is. All of the other, not all of them, many of the other nations in the world are embracing DLT technologies and taking advantage of them, and they are taking off and leaving the United States and the Western world behind. They're going to be making a ton of money, saving a ton of money, and they're not going to have to be dependent on the US dollar, the petrodollar anymore. In other words, if the United States does not participate in the advancement of themselves utilizing this technology, then there stands a great chance that they will not be what they are now or have been in the past. Really, they're not that now, but they still have a great amount of power. However, that will mean that the United States' fall may have begun if these things don't come to pass. But let's continue on here. Just my humble opinion, and I hope that doesn't happen. But that's why they need to take action now. It's not just about wealth; it's about survival. Survival. And believe me, if the United States begins to really do badly in every possible way that a collapse would entail, you will see a mass exodus of people that can leave the United States because they have businesses, because they have enough money to do it, or just have enough willpower. You're already seeing a lot of that now. Like, you can pull up articles where people are going to live in Central America and South America, starting businesses down there. Heck, they're even going to get gas. You know, they're leaving California, going to get gas in Mexico. Okay, people are leaving and going to other continents like Africa and Asia. You have the digital nomads, the advent of the digital nomads. They're starting businesses overseas and, you know, making that their home, and all of the things that you will want to have happen in the United States, people are leaving and doing elsewhere. I would expect that only to increase. Let's continue on here. It says the senator laid out why it was not clear whether a company was a security or not, saying that an associated token may not give its owner any claim to the profits or assets of an enterprise. And also, my goodness, it's so obvious that these are not securities, in my humble opinion. But the utilization of those things is just like dollars. You know, I don't even want to go down that pathway. Let's move on to another article here. Let's keep it moving forward. So I wanted to cover this article very briefly to show, once again, the IMF does not have the power that everyone thinks that they have. They have been rapidly losing power because countries see that the IMF is a very controlling entity, and that you will not be able to properly lead your country if you're listening to the IMF. This is an article on cryptodaily.co.uk, and it's titled, El Salvador, Still Happy to Be Early on the Bitcoin Technology Train. So the IMF has threatened a lot of countries saying, hey, don't use Bitcoin. You better not use Bitcoin. And those countries just shrug their shoulders. We don't care what you say. The IMF believes it can control them because of different amounts of capital they have loaned them, SDRs, things of that nature. But this stunts the growth of countries. Now, I don't know how these countries are led, bad or good, but I do know that people should have their destiny in their own hands. How can an entity that's so far away and doesn't live down on the ground with the people actually care about the people, or actually be able to lead them and tell them what to do, what's best for them? Didn't the people, let's say in a typical country where there's elections, let's just say that, okay? Because I don't know how things go in every single country. But let's say you did vote and you elected these people to lead you. Isn't there something wrong with then another entity stepping in and saying, hey, we're going to tell you how to lead how to lead everyone and how to run your country? When that negates the people putting someone in power, right? Just in general, that I'm not saying apply that to El Salvador. I don't know how the leadership goes there. Okay. But I do believe that the people around the world should have the opportunity to do well for themselves, no matter where they are, top to bottom. You should be able to thrive and raise yourself up by the sweat of your own brow. If you feel like you want to work hard or you want to try a new system, you should be able to do that. And you shouldn't have to answer to anybody else, in my humble opinion. And if the people are going to help you, like the IMF says, we're going to help you, and they pretend to be a hero, if that's the case, then let the people thrive. Let them make their own decisions if you're really helping them. But no, you're not. You're helping yourself. You want to remain in that rulership position. And I know the people of El Salvador are very, very good people. Great culture. Listen, I grew up, some of my closest friends, they were like family to me, were from El Salvador, man. Great food also, eating pupusa, tamales, things of that, you know. And what is that? I never knew what it was called. It's rice and milk with like sugar. I don't know if there's something else in it. And you eat it with like a spoon. Well, I don't know what that's called, but that was fantastic, okay? And what was the other? So anyway, I know that the people there, they deserve the possibility to thrive and do well. And I think a lot of people there are doing well. And I hope that that only continues to grow and it's not hindered by anyone, whether it's the IMF or a government. The people should be able to thrive and do well and live good lives, no matter where you come from. In my humble opinion, that's how I feel. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.